Thank you very much. I always say this, and I don't think it's inappropriate to say because I'm Jewish, so I could say this kind of thing. But in a board that is mostly Jewish, we've non-Jews on the board, and we welcome more. But in a board that's mostly Jewish, the one thing they all could agree on is that they all like David Steinman, and that's very unusual. Otherwise, they don't agree about almost anything else. Uh, um, This is off the record, isn't it? Okay, we got to turn that. Okay, fine. Oh, is that right? Okay, fine. Anyway, I'm not much of a morning person, but I want to thank everybody who for coming last night. I hope you all found it a really enjoyable and interesting evening. And I'll just say a few words about the organization and what we're up to now. I spoke about it last night, so I don't really want to repeat myself too much, but I'll just say just a few key things, and I'll also, I didn't have a chance to really mention any of the staff, but by name, because we're trying to keep everything on time, and we were even earlier than we expected, which is also highly unusual for an organization named the Jewish Institute for National Security of America. First of all, I do want to thank the staff like Harris, who really kind of organized everything last night. Where's Harris? Oh, okay. And Jen and Leo and really everyone in the organization worked very hard. We had a board meeting yesterday, we had dinner, and we have a conference, so it's a lot for an organization of our size in one short time. And I also wanted to highlight someone new who's with us, which is General Yaakov Eish, who's a tremendous guy. His last position before he retired from the IDF was the defense attaché here, and before that headed IDF operations. Now he kind of runs our operations in Israel, a little smaller scale than running IDF operations. We're really happy to have him. He does a tremendous job for us, and just terrific to work for us. So thanks for being here and being involved. I really appreciate it very much. Let me say just a few things about the organization, and then we'll move on, because we have a lot of panels, and I don't want to really stand in the way. I just say that what the things that we're working on, to be very clear, is I see this strategically a time, both internationally, that this is on the Israel issues first. We have administration that I think is correctly done a very important course correction compared to the previous administration on Iran, and I've written about it, and I'm very glad that they've withdrawn from the JCPOA, the nuclear deal. We're going to have a talk about this. I don't want to prejudge the panel on Syria, but basically, very good on Iran in terms of the imposition of sanctions and pushing back on the Iranians with tough language, talking about human rights and the welfare of the Iranian people. But yet it seems extremely reluctant to do much on the ground. And I think certainly we know this from the president. I thought it was a very good advance on the administration's policy that you had Bolton, and then you've had Pompeo last night make this clear that we're not going to move our troops out of Syria until the Iranians are gone and their proxies, and we're not going to aid that country, Syria, until they do so. Yet, that's very positive, but it's somewhat of a passive policy, I think, and I think it's important. And so, but on the front lines, pushing back on the Iranians is the Israelis, and in Yemen, of course, you have the UAE and the Saudis, and I think I would like to see the United States be a little more assertive on this. But if we're not going to do that ourselves, and I appreciate what Secretary Pompeo said last night about clandestine operations, and that's good, but they're not mutually exclusive to non-clandestine operations. You do both, and obviously you should do both, I think. But if you're not going to do that, then this is a moment where we have to help our allies on the front lines, and that's primarily Israel. And we'll hear from General Amidjor and to get his perspective on that in a few minutes. But we're working on this, so we think one of the most important things to do right now, but I would also add you have a very pro-Israel administration, and unusually so, especially compared, in my view, to the last one. So I think, therefore, we need to help the Israelis now. This is a great opportunity for the United States with this president, with this administration. They're very supportive of Israel. They back Israeli actions, and we have to support them now, the Israelis, because by trying to push back the Iranians in Syria, they're really doing, I think, our bidding. That's how I see it. I think I'd like to see the U.S. be more active in disrupting Iran and Syria. But if we're not going to do that, and the Israelis are obviously willing and prepared, as they've been doing, over 200 airstrikes in the last couple of years or whatever, then we need to bolster them and their capability on that. And that's a project that we have with Admiral Jim Stavridis. Now we have General Breedlove, also a former SACEUR Supreme Allied Commander in NATO. And I was glad, if you remember last night, that Senator Tom Cotton brought up that effort, and we just met with him just last week about this issue, and where we expect, I mean, based on what he told us and what I know they're already doing, to work closely with them in terms of the National Defense Authorization Act and other issues. So if I could highlight one project without doing a laundry list, this is the project that I'm extremely focused on, and we have several retired American generals we have a number of them here today. So, as you would expect from retired military or active, are offering the report, and we have it out here, in here or out there. Harris, that report on is that out there? So if you haven't read it, take a look out there, but it's very practical, and you'll be seeing very soon from us other work that's going to come out that we've already worked on this to elaborate on this. And I think strategically for the United States, it's very important if you have a president who is willing to be tough on issues, and this administration especially is very focused on the economic tools about almost any issue. There's a problem, use economic pressure. And that's important, especially compared to the last president, who was obviously often downplayed that. But America we're a powerful country. We have a lot of elements of our power, and we need to utilize all the elements, not just the economics. So I'm just going to highlight that, but that's a big priority for us right now. And then I'll stop, and thank you very much for being here today. And I'll turn it over to Josh Rogan and our panel today. Thank you very much.